Welcome back to Redbeard RPG and Pillars of Eternity. We are going to check this final last little area before we head down these stairs to the next level. Make sure we're not missing out on anything. Of course, we got some enemies.
Zawa is ready. Following your lead.
Aye?
Defeat Thaos.
Now, let's change this up
Huh?
a bit.
Following your lead. I am no use here.
That's it! Yeah?
Zawa is ready.
Got him! How may I help?
Not even slowing it down.
Alright, easy enough.
Of course.
A little bit of loot there. Surprised this glowing thing we can't do anything with. Alright, I guess that's it. Just a chest down there.
So, it's true. The gods are a sham that people have followed for thousands of years.
It appears so. Hey, we got a level up. A couple people got some things to say. Let's do the level up real quick first. Yeah, we'll go survival. Let's go with the healing. Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we note a rather sharp drop somewhere around here? We've been lied to. Our whole lives, and many lives before that. And it's led us to put our faith in a pantheon of gods that never deserved it in the first place.
Yeah, what difference does it make? People will be what they are whether they believe in gods or not.
I'm surprised to hear you say this. It seems that much harm comes from imposing authority where perhaps none is needed. We've seen the atrocities that members of the Leaden Key have committed without even understanding why or for whom they act.
Yeah.
For once, the half-souled elf is right. To live in ignorance is to allow the gods to have their way with us.
Yep.
I've also been thinking. There won't be much left of Thaos by the time you're done with him, if I know how you operate. That will leave the leaden key headless. Perhaps it's best it stays that way.
Agreed.
Then let's face Thaos. When this is all over, I'll make sure that no one is able to commit his abuses again.
Good.
Well, doesn't that just beat all? Here I was, wondering all this time whether all these terrible things were people's fault or the gods. Turns out they might be the same thing. Wonder how things would have gone different 15 years ago if the Raid Sarens had been told their god was made in some forge or kiln someplace. Would we still have gone to war?
Yeah, people were starving. They would have rebelled sooner or later.
I could see the rebellion still happening, but I don't know that they would have invaded.
That's probably fair.
I don't know. When Woden left for war, we, had a fight. As brothers will.
About what?
About him going off to war. He was set on it. But my parents warned him. They said you get a new country with every trip across the border, but your god, you only get the one. Now, me, I didn't know who was right. All I knew was I didn't want him to go. It's the same for families as it is for gods. You only get the one. I said every vicious thing I could think of, trying to change his mind.
Good grief.
He brushed it off. Just got me madder, of course, him being so calm. He said I should come with him, but he'd understand if I didn't want to. I told him he'd better be able to face his god one day and answer for what he'd done. He said he'd keep that in mind. And then, he was gone. By the time I'd cooled off, months had passed. One morning it dawns on me that my brother always knew better than me. If he was so sure of what he was doing, then I should be there with him. I packed my things and was on the road that same morning. Of course, what I didn't know then was he'd already changed his mind. By that time, he was dead on that field.
Do you think he went to Wadewind because of what you said to him?
Crossed my mind. You live in a place like Gilded Vale. You don't have a whole lot else to do other than think about things you don't want to think about. I hope that wasn't it. I hope he went there because it's what he thought was right. But it seems I'm not meant to know.
So if you'd left with him, you'd have known why he changed his mind.
If I'd have left with him, we'd both be dead, so I don't know why I bother thinking about it.
Yep, that's pretty much.
I found my own way in the end, and it wasn't my brother's and it wasn't my god's. I don't know if it was right. But I couldn't abide what Widewin was doing to his own. God or not. I don't regret it. Whether Widewin was Aothis, well, it hardly seems to matter after what we just heard. And all these questions I've been trying to figure out. I think I just miss my brother.
All right, let's be on our way.
Still one more mess we gotta straighten out. Come on, then. I still owe you one.
Alrighty. Kinda can't see
Course.
nothing down here. Okay, so that dead ends that way, so we have to go this way pretty much. Oh, these guys have items on them. At least that guy did. The other ones I seem to not be able to interact with. Alright, everything's all nice
Full
and
of
lit up now.
surprises, aren't you?
Look at that. A city to put all others to shame. And long lost. We light our own path now, Watcher.
Whoa.
Can you do that again? I had something in my eye. Missed most of it.
Very funny.
I'd glad... Crave thou Philos dearly.
Parathis! Yeah!
Well, those guys went down way too fast. Alright, we'll see what's back here. Oh, lots of enemies. Excellent. Go indoctrination there.
Yes?
Starting on the Shadow Drake.
Yes.
Send Zawa after the Shadow Drake.
Yes?
Yeah?
Alright, let's try that.
Huh?
Get that going.
I? Worthy. Ra! La. Avaru beyond seek. Worthy. Ra!
This thing isn't doing the job.
Avaru beyond seek.
Yeah, all three died at once. Nice. Alright, easy enough. Maybe I should have boosted the difficulty when I entered this area. Now, this game tends to be hard enough on its own, so I don't know if that would have been disastrous or not. Let's see. Yeah, it seems like the only way forward is this
All
way.
right, then.
Won't get far like this.
We got... What's this? We got a bridge to jump across. Let's see what's this way first. I figured we'd get attacked again.
How may I help?
Yes.
Yes?
Huh?
Crave thou Philos dearly. Following your lead.
Rith Uli.
Oh, our guy's dead, so I can
Huh?
jump over here too.
Yes.
Looks like Zawa's got his guy.
Don't even slow it down!
Yeah? Lavaru beyond seek! Lavaru beyond seek! That's it! Got it.
All right. Not too bad.
Of course.
That dead ends. It's down this way. Couple enemies. There we go. Figured it'd be more than that.
Zawa is ready.
Following your lead.
Huh?
Aye?
Don't even... Stand still!
Parathis!
Fights are coming quick
course.
and easy. I'm not super mad at it though. We've technically already done this dungeon before in this playthrough. This is just like the official end. Yeah, it's a dead end. For some reason, can't use these stairs. Does looks like they're like broke and they just end. How did I not see these guys when I was here before? Not that they had anything special. It wasn't there. Yeah, it was a path over here too, right? Jump and freestanding. That it? That's all that's over there? Alright, well that seems to be it for the floor. A few supplies on that little jump there. Nothing too crazy though. Alright, and we are officially in Sun and Shadow. Now, this is like the big winding room, isn't it? Yeah.
You give me any more gifts and people will start thinking you're playing favorites.
Let's see. This is the way that winds around. So what's this way? Just a dead end? Yeah, nothing of interest. Okay.
ready to take the oath, to spread the word of
You
the
give me any
gods
more
to the
gifts and
lost.
people will start thinking you're playing favorites. You give me any more gifts and people will start thinking you're playing favorites.
I am trusting you to remain loyal to the gods in this.
Are you?
If you do not, you will have greater powers than me to answer to.
Well,
But
we'll
you
see
will
about
answer
that.
to me as well.
You give me any more gifts and people will start thinking you're playing favorites.
I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
This is a missionary, same as I was. Taught the wrong things as I was. Oceanus. They have held off many would-be invaders.
You are ready to give a confession?
I am ready to hear one from you.
I remember this whole scene. It was pretty good. Thank goodness where the Thaos fight takes place.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here?
Was Ivora telling the truth?
That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility that my people sacrificed everything to build.
Was the entire Inquisition based on a lie?
The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound.
The machine behind you, what does it do?
It has many uses, but its purpose is to bring structure to the chaos that surrounds it.
What is this place?
We are in a sanctum holy to Utica. There are others like it in service to the other gods. I come here often to pray for her counsel, and in this space I may be assured that she hears me.
All these statues,
They
who
are
are they?
monuments to Utica's greatest servants among my people. I hope to join them myself one day, but my work is not yet complete.
Did you lie to me when you said the gods could end suffering? Are there no gods?
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? Something men can turn to in their darkest moments when their days seem only like bridges from one tragedy to the next. Our gods are all these things.
Are there no gods?
We are in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. This is not the time. You've been through much these past few months. You will return home and you will rest. When you feel you have recovered, you may rejoin us at the trials. The Inquisition is far from over, and I will have need of you. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. The Inquisition will not end until we have pronounced judgment on all of them. How did you find it?
I didn't. It was Lady Webb.
Another in a string of acts of petty defiance. For all her knowledge, she always preferred spite over reason.
You know what? At this point, we have nothing more to say to each other.
Hear me, Utica. Your servant calls for aid.
Alright, so... There it goes. Like a little glitch there or something. Whoa, 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 whoa. Pause, pause. Good grief.
Zawa is ready.
Alright, so I will go that way.
Following your lead.
And we'll distract this guy. We'll have Eder go and distract that guy.
Huh?
I'll transform.
How may I help?
You can indoctrinate.
I?
What on earth just happened? Why are we going at 100 miles an hour all of a sudden? Alright, so his soul just went in there.
Zawa is ready.
So Zawa attacking that guy would be useless. Let me get my thunder going.
Word. That's not very helpful. That's not very helpful. Lava.
Worth and raw.
Okay, everybody's
Hi?
confused. That's not ideal.
Worth and
Oh, Eder's wore off, looks like.
worth and
Yes. Lava room.
lava.
Zawa is ready.
Did I ever do my lightning bolt? I never did. Let's get that going.
Lava room. Huh?
Alright. For some reason that whole fight went in like super fast forward.
All those lifetimes spent to preserve a single vital secret. I would expect a man to reconsider his choices after the first 500 years.
Right?
That's the servant down and the mistress still to go. A good start, worthy of being built upon.
Some point, you have to look at the things your god is telling you to do. Ask yourself if it's worth it.
He spent his lives, more than any of us will ever know. For what? Binding the world to a lie. Could a man like that ever be redeemed?
This man held to the world harder than any I have known. His suffering was plain to see.
Alright. Let's see. We'll skim through this. We've technically already done all this before. When the last arc appears. Alright, now we decide. Let's see. His soul specifically. Let's see. I do not envy you, Thaos. I, of all people, realize the sway of memories can hold. It's time you were granted peace. Yeah, let's tear his soul
Was there
apart.
nothing there worth saving? Forgive me. I know you chose wisely.
I do not think he would have been able to free himself on his own. You do him a service.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Alright. Feel his presence no more. Now, for the machine itself, a shrill cackle turns your head.
I have observed you, Watcher. The way you handled that noble girl in Deerford, delivering an idol effigy to her uncle. A most careful scheme.
Huh? I don't even remember that.
You have labored at the pleasure of others. That shriveled hag in Hadrit House. Those preening soldiers with more taste for silk than steel. The wretched tribesmen playing out their fantasies of grandeur. And then you cowered and knelt before the gods themselves, begging one paltry favor and receiving riddles and visions in response. And now the gods give you orders and commands, even while you set out to fix what they cannot. Yet what have they offered you?
I get the feeling this is a way of giving you new orders on behalf of his own master. Be careful.
The exiled queen is not an ungrateful patron.
Oh boy.
Finish the work Thaos began. Strengthen Woodica with these souls and allow her to become the most powerful of all the gods, with you as her favored.
I've been working against Woodica this whole time. Why would she thank me now after I've defeated her most loyal servant? Loyal and weak, Thaos proved his inadequacy when he failed to anticipate you. And what do you mean by her favorite? Recipients of Woodica's blessing, she always has a place for mortals of a particular merit. Pepper now should be the most powerful of the gods, and you'll be the one who made her, so I think it's a lifetime of rewards you would reap. The only reward I wish is the joy of pulling bloody shards out of her broken crown with my staff when I've finished with her trial. So says your companion who's been abandoned by his own god. Do you really trust him to make alliances? Helping Woodica would mean the secrets of the gods would stay hidden. Safely hidden, yes, from violent overlords who would cease to fear punishment in the next life, from heavy-handed masters who would answer to no one. The world needs some schemes. Or are the souls of the kith so pure that you would snap the tenuous threads that bind society? Have caution. All schemes desire an ignorant multitude. What they fear most is what they should know enough not to be content in our places. Yeah, I won't help you.
You say that now, but when you're standing in front of the machine, considering the lifetimes and the powers that await you, we'll see what you do.
All the evils we've seen going all the way back to the Saints' War, that's Woodica. Imagine if she was stronger on top of it all. Yeah. Speak the command. We're gonna defy the gods. Let's return the souls to the bodies they were intended for.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale, pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis.
Sure did.
Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Thaos used to enter Sun and Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Ter Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Thaos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the souls diverted by Thaos were guided back to the vessels originally meant for them. For the first time, parents of hollow-born children woke to the cries of their infants and looked into their eyes to see them staring back. People fell to their knees where they stood, thanking Helia or Mogren, or even Aethys for their forgiveness of whatever guilt they felt they bore.
Oh, good grief.
But for all the relief that had come to some parents, others only found new grief. For many thousands of Hollowborn had died during Wideone's legacy, many by their parents' own hands. For those children, there would be no homecoming. Yet the last Hollow birth was in the past now, and those parents willing to risk trying for a new child were frequently rewarded, often with twins.
Interesting.
Many felt they saw Helia's hand in it, and the year would be remembered as the Year of Helia's Splendor. It is said that Galawain is the enforcer of the guards, and is known to hunt down those who wrong them. To wrong Galawain, then, is truly to wake the beast, and the Father of Monsters took great umbrage at your broken promise to him.
Uh-oh.
Along with Mogren and Abidan, Galawain embarked upon a more direct approach to claiming his quarry. In the months that followed, the frontier settlements of Deerwood were inexplicably attacked by packs of beasts and monsters,
Good grief.
suddenly organized and unafraid to approach Kith on their own land. Many such villages were all but destroyed by the time troops could be dispatched from local garrisons. Those that weren't destroyed by the beasts of Galawain often found themselves at the mercy of the fires of Mogren. A dry spell throughout Deerwood led to a rash of forest fires on a scale not seen since the War of Black Trees, and many settlements paid the price for their proximity to the wilderness. In the cities, meanwhile, dabblers in animancy who had placed souls into golems and other moving vessels soon found that their creations had risen up against them. Such constructs terrorized their surroundings, killing indiscriminately and often in great numbers before being subdued. Followers of Bereth have a saying that life is a debt all must pay in death, and their god is known to always collect what is owed. In breaking your word to Bereth, a debt was created. Souls were owed to the cycle, and the agents of the god of inevitability would not be refused. An epidemic of unexplained deaths struck Deerwood in the days that followed the legacy. Most often, the dead would be travelers on the road, known to be a favorite target of Bereth's Pallid Knight, who exacts impossible tolls from those who have journeyed for too long. The elderly, too, seemed to pass on in alarming numbers. But just as often, the deaths appeared to strike randomly, and for no reason at all. Those who sensed the involvement of the twinned god dubbed the calamity Bereth's Price, supposing it a payment for the end of Wideone's legacy. Lord Radric's zeal had brought him back to life once, but it would not do so again. Radric's destruction at your hands spelled the end of his suffocating rule over Gilded Vale and the surrounding area. In his absence, the village prospered, becoming a popular destination for new settlers anxious to leave Defiance Bay after the riots. Without a nearby ruler, it also grew more wild, with many settlers moving on as soon as they'd arrived, turned off by lawlessness that was excessive even by Deerwooden standards. Nevertheless, despite the challenges of living there, Gilded Vale had survived, and would continue to survive for the foreseeable future. Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval.
I couldn't have done anything about that.
In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But order was soon re-established by the Knights of the Crucible, who, despite their depleted numbers, had gained favor in the public eye for their role in the unraveling of the conspiracy surrounding Wideone's legacy, and were quickly reinforced by returning forces from Fleetbreaker Castle. For the Knights, their resurgence marked a return to the tradition as well. Having seen firsthand the dangers presented by dabblers in animancy, the Order quickly abolished the practice internally, preferring the familiarity of their hammers and forges to the uncertainties of Essence and Adra. Their identity rediscovered, the knights suppressed their political aspirations and began once again to train their recruits in the art of blacksmithing, recapturing the post-revolutionary ideals of Deerwood and regaining the respect of its citizens as a result. Though the machine atop Ter Noaneth had been disabled, it had not seen its last use. Heritage Hill was rebuilt, and no sooner had the first families moved in to resettle the district than members of the Leaden Key, acting under standing orders from their Grand Master, climbed the tower and reactivated the machine.
Good grief.
The initiates slew a handful of the new settlers under cover of night and watched as history repeated itself, the victims reanimating and devouring the survivors. After this second incident, the district would remain abandoned. The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an Animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay, and few Animancers survived the first day. Many Deerwoodans took the end of Widewind's legacy as a sign, both that the gods did not approve of animancy, and that the purging of Animancers in Defiance Bay had been enough to satisfy them.
Good grief.
In time, their rage would subside, and a number of surviving Animancers remained in and around Defiance Bay, often taking to the wilds to practice their science without repercussions. In the town of Deerford, an underground cult dedicated to Scan insinuated itself into the town's institutions. It became a popular travel destination for the wealthy, who were actively courted by the town's leadership. But few who visited the town would ever return, as they soon found their fortunes plummeting and their reputations destroyed by their own kin. Abidon's renewal brought new vigor and purpose to a god long known for quiet, steady labor. Handicraft saw a revival in the Deerwood, and no smith wanted for an apprentice. Additionally, Abidon's restored interest in preservation led to redoubled efforts to survey Engwithan ruins. Animancers and craftsmen alike found much to study, but tensions with Aer Glanfath rose. As for Stalwart, the Battle of Caeron's Scar only strengthened their resolve to unlock the mysteries of Durgan steel and build new marvels with the White Forge. However, Stalwart's ambitions brought them into further conflict with the Raid Serens, as more and more impoverished communities gathered at the border and vowed to finish the work of the Iron Flail. It would be many generations before the region saw peace.
Absolutely ridiculous.
The Flames That Whisper clan found a cautious peace with Stalwart, particularly once the villagers heard of the aid the ogres had offered against the Eyeless. The clan moved back into the Russet Wood, and as Stalwart grew in prestige, the villagers formed a tighter alliance with their ogre neighbors. Within a generation, ogre traders visited Stalwart, and village hunters were welcome in the Russet Wood.
That's nice.
Harmka's death had brought the Devil of Carrick little satisfaction. In time, her taste for vengeance soured. What replaced it was a hunger to feel something, anything, new. Summer had thinned the snowpack twice over when she felt the joint at her elbow first begin to stiffen. She turned her back on the hopes of animancy and civilization and walked east. She pushed through the mountains, past Raid Ceres, and into the broad plains of Ishamiddle. She had forgotten what it was like to simply journey, no goal or destination in mind. Though she felt nothing more than the steady thump of her feet on the road, the endless horizons and grassy meadows were new to her. She measured her time in the gradual rusting of her body and was satisfied. Her movements slowed, but so did the world around her. Waist-high grasses undulated and tacked in the wind, as gradual as the tides. Sparrows and blackjays made steady pilgrimages across the sky, each flap of their wings a solemn salute. She could hardly move when she found something she had never seen before, the ocean. With the last of her strength, she pulled herself beneath the water, content at last to feel the movement of currents and the constant caress of the waves. Free from the burden of her memory, Maneha soon left the gift-bearers and resumed adventuring. Now that she had a taste for the world, she wanted to experience it anew.
Fair enough.
Maneha rediscovered her zest for battle, extravagance, and romance. She kept her gaze on the horizon, looking from one journey to another more distant, from the lover in her arms to another more fervent. Hers was a life of excitement, violence, and passion. She moved too quickly for regret to catch up with her, and she hoped only that she might outpace it in the next life as well. The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur. The Audra dragon known as the Master Below, her soul now housed in the body of the huntress Fallen Roet, passed out of Deerwood in relative anonymity, her final destination unknown, even to herself. She was last seen in the port town of Road's End, boarding a ship, an Audra talisman glowing about her neck.
I thought I killed her.
Pallegina had gone against the Duke Spell's orders by inventing a new trade arrangement with the Anamenfath to accommodate the recovering Deerwooden market. With the Deerwood's people still weakened by Weidman's legacy, the Valian republics easily pushed their would-be competitors out of the market. For her outrageous insubordination and audacity, Pallegina was banished from the republics. She traveled north in the Eastern Reach, avoiding Valian ports and entering the ranks of the kind wayfarers. Despite her bravery and dedication to those in her care, her strange appearance made her feel like an outsider wherever she went. Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Still most comfortable far from cities, he settled in Deerford, which, like many towns in the Deerwood, was beginning the slow process of rebuilding. Believing now that it was the obligation of Kith to be the leaders their gods had not, Adair was soon named mayor of the town.
Nice.
And under his guidance, Deerford soon began to prosper. He expelled the last of the Scanites from the area and drew new settlers with the offer of land, a trick he had learned from someone he otherwise preferred to forget. With each passing day, Deerford would come to more closely resemble the Gilded Vale of Adair's childhood, the one worthy of its name. When the dust settled in sun and shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Thaos Ixarchanon, his former master. He saw where the Grand Master had gone wrong and what would be required to undo the harm Thaos had wrought. With a flick of his wrist, he burned Thaos's robe, headdress, and every other symbol of the man's power. Never again, he vowed, should Kith live in fear and blind obedience to an authority they did not understand.
Good.
Armed with the knowledge and courage he had gained on his journeys with the Watcher, he set out on the long and lonely task of dismantling the Leaden Key. With both their aims fulfilled, Kanarua bid the Watcher farewell and sailed back to his beloved Rawatai. There, he reported on his findings to the Lore College. Kana spoke of the Engwithan people, describing both their vile experiments and their inspiring accomplishments. He spoke too of the destruction of the tablet by the Leaden Key and the group's efforts to erase the Engwithan legacy from the world. Both inspiration and cautionary tales, he said, could be found in the world beyond Rawatai's borders. Kana urged his people to continue to pursue knowledge abroad so that the lessons found there might benefit Tekoa. Kana's inability to prove his theory of Engwithan influence diminished his academic standing, but his passion drew much interest from those less concerned with degrees. Kana swiftly became an influential figure in the move toward a more collaborative approach to expansion on the northern continent. In his personal life, he came to enjoy the reputation of an affable eccentric, willing to share grand and impossible secrets, along with a drink and a song. With Thaos defeated and the souls released from sun and shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. Pleasant and peaceful memories rose to fill the cracks in the grieving mother's mind. She returned to the birthing bell, unaware that the village nearby had become an empty desolation in her absence. Thus she began her tireless vigil atop the Audra, awaiting mothers and children who never came.
Uh-oh.
Durrance used Magrin's strength only until Thaos had been cast from the world, and then swore off her influence entirely. Regret came to weigh heavily on his mind, and a man who had never previously lacked for words or opinions came to embrace silence and contemplation. He continued to wander, penniless and destitute, searching now not for the reason for his goddess's silence, but for a mechanism for revenge. The charred robes he continued to wear as a reminder that he had been burned by his goddess, and not just by the flames of the Godhammer. In her 4-month journey back to Nositoc, Sagani found that the landscape she traveled had become strangely colorless, the food bland and unsatisfying. She watched the Deerwood, Air Glonfoth, the Valian Republics, and the lands beyond slide by with a dull sense of dread. She returned home to great celebration, yet the words of joy and congratulations rang hollow to her. Old beloved songs sounded toneless. The rituals of changing seasons became drudgery, and Sagani experienced her life back in Masuk as if in someone else's skin. So she fought to feel the worth of her actions, or at least to let her village feel them. She led ever longer and more ambitious hunts, mentoring the younger rangers who followed her. On one such expedition, her party was beset by a blizzard, and she pressed on where her companions turned back. She did not return to Masuk. For you, the death of Thaos brought an end to your waking visions, and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait. A long journey loomed ahead.
Another journey. And that is the end of Pillars of Eternity. What an awesome game. We're probably going to roll straight into the second one. But that's probably, for me personally, probably an 8 or 9 out of 10. Like, that's something else. How this isn't being considered for a third one already, especially with the success of Baldur's Gate 3, I do not understand. Baldur's Gate 3 kind of proved there's still a market for these types of games as long as they're done well. And yeah, so we're definitely going to do the next one, probably right away. I do, on the channel in general, I do want to mix in some JRPGs at some point. I've been doing CRPG and action RPGs for a while. But for now, yeah, I really want to just play the next one. That's all I can really think about. So I think that's what we're going to be doing. And thank you all so very much for watching. Have a good one.